What's up, you guys? Hello. I'm so happy that you guys are all in here. I'm Devin Howard. I host Unbox This right here on the Newegg Studios YouTube page. Maybe you guys recognize me, but today I'm actually streaming from my beautiful Soho loft apartment. Look at this. Do you appreciate it? It's so beautiful. It's so bright. It's so airy. Actually, you guys, I have to be honest. I am not in Soho right now. In fact, I am in my studio right here in Los Angeles. It's much less glamorous than that beautiful loft apartment, but I can look like I'm actually in that New York City gorgeous penthouse place, all thanks to NVIDIA Broadcast. So today we're going to be talking all about NVIDIA Broadcast. It's this incredible tool that I think creators, streamers, gamers, everybody will love because it really gives you the opportunity to turn your home studio into an AI-powered professional quality studio. You get so many different features to make your camera look better, make your audio look better, but we're going to be getting into all of that later on in the broadcast. Also, we have two special surprises for you guys. So everybody who's tuning in today gets a special gift from us. I'm going to tell you what that is later on in the broadcast, so you have to stick around. But we are also giving away a GeForce RTX powered laptop to one lucky viewer. That is so exciting, you guys. A GeForce RTX powered laptop could be yours. But if you actually want to just go ahead and purchase an NVIDIA Studio Badge laptop, you can do that. We have a link in the description below. If you don't even want to wait around for that giveaway, you can check that out. But I highly recommend sticking around to see if you could be the lucky person that walks away with that laptop for free. Also, we're talking to the mastermind, the creator of NVIDIA Broadcast, Gerardo Delgado. He is coming in today to talk to us about Gerardo Delgado Cabrera. Sorry, I forgot that last name there, but he's coming in to talk to us about everything that went into creating NVIDIA Broadcast. I think this is such a cool tool. It really is like a real-world application of AI. AI feels like it's something that's coming from the future, but you can actually use it right now. But before I get too deep into this, I want to introduce you guys to my co-host, Juan. Let's get you up on the screen. Hello, welcome. I think you're still muted, my friend.
Oh no. Am I?
I think you're muted.
No,
Oh, I can't hear you though for some reason. You can go ahead and introduce yourself for a second.
If I'm on the stream, someone in the private chat, give me the heads up. I'm so sorry. We're doing it live, folks. That's one of the beautiful things about talking about live streaming and broadcast software. My name is Juan Carlos Bagnell, aka Some Gadget Guy. I've been doing a bunch of the technical builds and the PC gaming videos here on the Newegg Studio channel. And of course, I'm always down to chat. Streamer. Content creation, production grade sound. I've come from a background of 20 years of studio and location sound mixing, and it was actually here on the Newegg Studios channel. We were one of the first to really kind of dig into the nuts and bolts of RTX voice back in the day, back when this was a beta. So it's really exciting to kind of piggyback on this and watch how this project has evolved, has expanded, and it is really delivering some exciting tools to folks, especially in this sort of part-time work from home. Maybe you've got a remote work situation, maybe you're on the road, but there are definitely some situations where you want to make sure you're putting out the best possible quality that you can. And so we're going to be digging in, we're going to be checking out everything that this platform, that this piece of software from NVIDIA has to offer. And really, it's just exciting whenever we get to have that conversation about getting the most for your money out of a purchase. I mean, like you go out of your way to buy like a gaming laptop or one of these new creator laptops, and that's really cool, that's really exciting. But if your GPU's just kind of sitting there, you're not really using it, well, what'd you pay for? NVIDIA's gonna make sure you really got stuff to do on that hardware. So Devin, you catching me back? Are we incommunicado now?
Yes, we are. I can hear you. Excellent. I'm so happy. How are you today, by the way? We didn't even get to do the hello. How's it going?
Our little banter. It's great. It's a beautiful day down here in sunny Southern California. This is going to be an excellent test of my office. We just moved into this new house. I'm still setting up this new gadget lab, and as we get to the afternoon, the sun just hits this wall. And so right now I'm running the AC and a fan in my room as hard as I can to keep from sweating profusely And I feel like I'm just my side of the stream is already going to be a torture test of what NVIDIA Broadcast has to offer.
Well, I can say right now, you look and sound absolutely wonderful. So NVIDIA Broadcast is clearly working because we've got that crisp, clear image. Your audio sounds great now that I can finally actually hear you. I don't know what was going on before. But hey, so I wanted to talk to you because I'm sure a lot of our viewers have questions about NVIDIA Broadcast.
Sure.
How can everybody download this, and what are the system requirements for people to use it?
Yeah, for sure. So again, this has kind of been one of those really interesting evolutionary processes. Especially over the last couple of years, a lot of people have been getting way more interested in putting together their own streams or sprucing up their video calls, their conference calls. And this is one of the things that I think is so phenomenally exciting about this as a platform, is that it doesn't seem so generationally dependent. You go to NVIDIA.com, and I can actually like jump over and screen share my browser here for just a second. And there's a page for Broadcast Download Center, which is awesome. And then the system requirements here are pretty easily spelled out. Now, obviously, like our lowest powered, just CPU powered computers aren't necessarily going to be able to jump on this. But going all the way back to an RTX 2060, of course, any of the current RTX 3000 cards, Titan RTX or higher, the Quadros, you're going to be able to jump in and play with all this stuff. 8 gigabytes of RAM, a Core i5 or a Ryzen R5 2600, and then just that you're up to date on the current display driver. And this is a platform is delivering a wealth of software manipulation to video and audio feeds that used to be phenomenally more expensive and way less effective than what we're currently able to do in real time. Again, I just still feel from starting with an RTX voice to now playing with Broadcast, it's stupid good. I mean, like, I still don't believe that it works as well as it does, and then it does, and then I just kind of, just sort of gush all over it, because I can't tell you how long we've been fighting for some of these practical tools that are way more consumer accessible.
It has been so much fun playing around with NVIDIA Broadcast and just seeing how much creative control you can have over the way you look and sound. I was actually reading some of the chat, and there was some background noise for me, but I just turned on noise removal, and I'm sure I sound a lot better. Juan, maybe you can confirm that for me, but I think I do sound good.
What's kind of funny here, and one of the things that I love about this, we're definitely going to be getting way more into the nuts and bolts when Gerardo joins us, but I didn't know, because I had already started processing your return audio. So you already just sounded great on my side. So if folks were upset about your audio quality in the stream, maybe we did that on purpose just to illustrate this as a point. But you can filter that incoming audio. Again, I talk a lot, even on my own personal channel, about things like hearing health. And I think one of the things we take for granted is noise, because noise is this like irritant. Even if it's not harming your hearing, it's exhausting. It wears you down. If you've had to do those like marathon Zoom calls and someone's got like that really obnoxious, headset mic, or, you can hear kind of life happening in the background, or a loud fan or an air conditioner, that's grating on your nerves. And now you can kind of just get rid of it. And it's surprisingly effective at that.
You're absolutely right. And I know I'm definitely guilty of pushing my ears to the limits. I love going to live concerts, but it's really important to keep your mind, your body, your ears all healthy and safe. I know that you are an audio guy, so you know all about that. Let's dive a little bit deeper into NVIDIA Broadcast's audio features, because I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to let you take it away. What does everybody need to know about what NVIDIA Broadcast can do for your audio and sound?
I can't believe this actually exists. So we are in a renaissance of audio hardware right now, and the software processing on tap, specifically coming from NVIDIA here, is legit magic to me. I really genuinely don't grok it. For years, I've worked in recording studios where, you might need to scalpel out a little noise, or you were on location and you just kind of need to reduce some of the background hum. We've had this type of audio or acoustic modeling in professional grade software for years. we've never seen the practical application of this being performed real time like we are today. It genuinely is like taking all of the best parts of your noise canceling, your really expensive noise canceling headphones, and applying it to the audio input and output. So if you'll pardon, I mean, I do want to get into the actual broadcast software here. And on my screen, you can see we've got just a very simple panel. And we can jump in and we can activate noise removal, and then we can kind of, guide how strong we want this effect to be. And obviously, nothing is ever going to be completely magic, where if I had like a blender going off right next to me, it would definitely be impacting my microphone and altering the frequencies of sound that are carried by my voice. But like I said, right now I'm sitting right next to a fan, and my ability just to kind of open that up, this doesn't sound like terribly or horrifically distracting sound. But if you were in the middle of a call with me for a long period of time, it's this low-level stuff that also just kind of wears you out. It burns you out. And for this to be as simple, as easy, and as accessible as it is, to just pop that one switch, and if I need to, I can dial it up or dial it down. I think this is a good balance for me right now between fan, AC, and then just trying to maximize my voice. But this is so simple, and it's such clean design because it's exactly the same on the return as well. I mean, I was able to turn your feed off, so now I'm not running a broadcast on your voice coming back in, but that's it. Any audio coming in from a call or from some type of other audio source, and it just sort of takes over the audio input output settings on your PC. I mean, it is that quick, that accessible. You don't need to mess around with tuning it or trying to mess with an EQ or, oh, I've got a little more of a problem with Rumble. Let me also come in here and do this. Again, I care about the pro level stuff. If this isn't easy to use for your aunts, your uncles, I've got a 60-year-old school teacher aunt. She is all over stuff like this. And just the fact that it is that kind of one button simple and it's as effective as it is makes this so much more empowering for when she has to do remote lessons with her students. I mean, it's that tier. I mean, I don't want to sound like overly gushy and high-minded and aspirational, but these tools don't mean a whole lot if they're hard to use or they're hard to get a hold of. This really does kind of help us take that next step towards accessibility.
You pointed out something really important about NVIDIA Broadcast is that it is very, very easy to use. It's extremely user-friendly. It doesn't take a lot of skill or knowledge or technical knowledge to be able to operate it. It's just a couple buttons that you toggle on and off, and you're able to turn your laptop and your webcam into this like professional AI studio. And I think that that's really cool about it. Now, for somebody who's maybe not interested in live streaming necessarily, for example, me and my sister, she has a 7-month-old baby at home, and I love him. He's normally very happy, but sometimes when we're trying to video chat, he is crying so much in the background. How can NVIDIA Broadcast help me with that kind of situation?
Yeah, and I don't want to steal his thunder because when we have Gerardo on, he's gonna help us really get into the developer focus, the nuts and bolts of how this all came to pass. But what I think is critically interesting here is we're just kind of climbing out of beta for the audio side of this. There's a big beta badge on the camera side of this, but this is ongoing and learning software. So, NVIDIA has the ability for you to kind of help guide the future iterations of what the software is going to be able to process. And people giving it feedback like that, especially the real world life stuff. I know like the primary application is probably on things like my blue switches on my keyboard, right? Especially for the audience, the Twitch audience that's going to be tuning into something like this. I like the clacky keys, and that's an obvious model to train a noise reduction filter for gamers. Moving beyond that, it's like garbage trucks coming right down your alley, or it's a niece or a nephew who just commands attention and is kind of wailing at sort of a consistent cry or a pitch. It's fulfilling all of that audio information because we've got this incredible wealth of compute power in these GPUs that is kind of going untapped for some of these lifestyle, for these daily driver experiences that we all sort of count on our computing products to fulfill. And that to me is the exciting part, is like, we're only scratching the surface now. It's already phenomenally effective at this constant droning stuff. And just as we feed it more information and we sort of empower the developers to consider other lifestyle use, it's only going to keep getting better on the current hardware you have today. That to me is like Star Trek level future speak right there.
I want to remind you guys all watching today that we are giving away a GeForce RTX powered laptop to one lucky winner. So if that motivates you or excites you, you guys need to stick around for that. And also we have a gift for everybody who's tuning in today, a little special prize that we're going to tell you about later on in the show. So you'll have to stick around for that as well. But you guys, that GeForce RTX powered laptop, I mean, amazing. That's worth sticking around for sure. Now we put some of NVIDIA Broadcast's sound features to the test. If you guys are familiar with the channel, you might recognize my good friend Ben Tibbles. We sent him out into downtown Los Angeles. He went into the wild and he put all of these features to the test. So let's roll those clips right now so you guys can see how well NVIDIA Broadcast works in a variety of different settings.
I'm Ben Tibbles, and I'm here in the heart of downtown LA to test NVIDIA Broadcast noise removal filter. As you can tell, it might be hard to hear even a loudmouth like me because this is one of the busiest intersections in America. But with the noise removal filter turned on, all of a sudden I become the focus of the sound and the rest is drowned out. So again, I become the star of the audio recording here, but if I turn that filter off, the traffic becomes much more present and it's much more difficult to hear me, and I'm who you want to hear, right? Right, guys? Because again, I can turn the filter on and I'm much easier to hear. But I'm not done. I want to test in a few more places. Come with me. We're here in downtown LA where you've got the lovely rumble of traffic, trucks, helicopters, and the occasional train. We're gonna see how NVIDIA Broadcast does with its noise removal on the sound of a train. We're here in downtown LA and now I've engaged noise removal. You should be able to hear me a lot more clearly now. The train shouldn't be as present, even though you can see it go right back there. It's blowing its horn, but I'm blowing mine and I'm louder now, right? Here it is off. It should be harder to hear me. Let's go ahead and put that back on. And now it's on and you can hear me more clearly, even though that train is still blaring. Okay. That train is taking its time. It's being as loud as it wants to be. It's blowing that horn. Let's put the noise reduction back off so you can hear again the difference between that train blowing its horn and chugging along the tracks and me trying to communicate with all you fine folks there at home. There's that. Let's put the noise reduction back on and let's see how good it does at making me hearable to you, even with that train chugging along. All right. So you've escaped the city and you think you're safe from sound, but noxious noisemakers are everywhere. I'm not a big fan of these blowhards, but with the noise removal filter, they become much less prominent. And suddenly you can hear me more clearly instead of just that guy back there. Again, with the filter off, pretty loud, pretty annoying, pretty distracting if you're streaming, but with the noise filter on, you become more clear, your sound transmits more clearly, and the star gets to shine.
So even if there were some little video glitches going on there, which happens when you're live streaming, I think it's safe to say
Live.
we're doing it live, you guys. Sometimes that happens, but Ben's audio sounded incredible. Now, downtown Los Angeles is very, very noisy. I never go for a walk in DTLA because it's just not peaceful or quiet. But the fact that he was able to be out there and we could hear him so clearly with so little background noise is wildly impressive. Wouldn't you say, Juan?
Oh, it's fantastic, and I can definitely sort of back that up. Again, I mean, with us doing this in a live stream, and when I'm trying to do like the little demos and stuff here, and we heard on Devin's side where we were clicking on and off the noise reduction from broadcast, it really is phenomenally effective. I run my own podcast every week, and it's just sort of a running gag with my audience that, like, as soon as I start broadcasting, that's when landscapers come and start doing all kinds of crazy work right outside my window. And I stopped getting those complaints at the dawn of RTX voice. Like it literally could handle, mitigate that without too much of an effect on my own voice, on the audio that I was putting out. So it's surprisingly effective, and when we need to kind of get that across, and when we kind of need to show that. The only thing I want to put out there for the Newegg producers, and we've got people in the private chat who are all on the behind the scenes, like the Newegg ninjas. I'm gonna have to ask on Ben's behalf that if you're gonna send him out into situations like that, gotta hook the boy up with some good hearing protection. I mean, what's happening there? Poor Ben's ears. Like, we didn't have to deal with the noise, but Ben was in the middle of it. I mean, just get some earplugs, man. They're cheap. You can go to like Walgreens. It's all good.
I'm a big fan of earplugs. I wear them to bed every night. That's my embarrassing story. Anyway, let's not talk about that anymore. One thing I want to drive home for creatives. Now, Juan, you and I are both creative people. I know we don't know each other that well, but I can tell that you are quite a creative person. And I think what's really neat about NVIDIA Broadcast is that it frees up the creative person so that they can start their passion project without having to invest right out of the gate into a bunch of equipment, because NVIDIA Broadcast kind of gives you those tools without the investment of having to go and buy that stuff. So if you don't have access to a sound treated studio, but you do want to start live streaming, or you do want to start a podcast, you're able to get the high quality, professional quality look and sound that you're going for without that upfront cost. Now, one thing that we haven't touched on with NVIDIA Broadcast is video. So I want to dive into that because I have been loving these features. And Juan, I want to have you actually show us some of the cool things that you can do with the video features here on NVIDIA Broadcast. You guys saw I was initially streaming in my beautiful loft apartment. Now I'm in the studio. I've got the lights behind me and everything, but it looked so realistic. So show us what else you can do with NVIDIA Broadcast's video features.
Yeah, for sure. Let me click back over. I'm gonna screen share again from my side if you guys want to just sort of throw my video full screen here. That didn't work at all. There we go. Thanks, guys. So this was the audio plugin that we were looking before. I can get back on camera so that we can see this as the practical demo right here. Now, the video, this actually does get a little bit more complicated if you're already running an established streaming setup like I am, because you've just got to point this software at the right input, the capture card. If I show this right now, I've got kind of a trio of different options that NVIDIA Broadcast is going to look at. But for a lot of the people just getting started, especially if you're coming at this from a laptop like one of those crazy powered NVIDIA RTX Creator laptops that someone might be walking away with at the end of the stream, you're going to see that first. Now, obviously, NVIDIA Broadcast is going to help you spruce up that image quality, that video quality, and then you can kind of take it from there. There's so much room to grow. Again, that's another exciting part of this is I'm already coming at this from micro Four Thirds mirrorless cameras and capture cards and ways to make my stream look a little bit better. But I want to show, just kind of a little the behind the scenes here. If I turn off my auto frame and I turn off my background blur, like this is kind of a fine video look. Like this looks all right. I'm in a really small office. I don't have a lot of width or depth to this room. So it takes a lot of hardware to make me the focus and not have my distracting tchotchke-laden bookcase in the background. I mean, it really is kind of like cameras and lenses that look like this to get just enough of a shallow depth of field that I kind of pop from the background. So what's critically exciting to me, and again, just like I said with the audio, from an accessibility standpoint and making these tools easier to use, is flicking on something like the background blur and keeping it at its lowest level. I mean, like I am barely touching the strength of the background blur on this. And you can see even just that subtle, natural kind of pop and soften to the background helps lift me out of the background of all of this visual noise that we would normally have to contend with. And we can go silly too. I mean, if we really want to try and make me look like, I don't even know what this would look like. I mean, this is practically like green screen level separation between me and the background there. I'm actually going to turn it right back down here. But from here, as you've seen, I also like the ability to kind of move around and focus. And I have a decently wide enough lens on this camera that by flicking on that and keeping a tighter head and shoulders crop, my ability to move within the frame creates the effect of having a virtual cameraman as I drop my stool, doing it live. As I move around the space and I want to pull something like off of a bookshelf and I can kind of reach that, or walk to the edge of my room over here and grab one of my old like review phones and talk about what's going on with technology and stuff. All of these things are so much easier, and I don't have to train it, I don't have to tune it, I don't have to give it parameters. There's nothing like that. You can see literally in this box, it's a couple of toggles, and then you just decide how tight you want that crop. And beyond there are a number of other tools that kind of help facilitate that sort of use, where we can look at different plugins, background replacements, just a straight background removal. Like if we want to try and make me like an alpha frame, I would be able to put something very easily behind. Again, this is kind of a game streamer idea, but moving forward into this new world that we're sort of dealing with, I know teachers, like the teacher, my daughter's kindergarten teacher, is basically running her own entertainment Twitch stream for multiple hours a day, every day. And so her ability to tap into tools like this, she wants to throw up like a book and read the book with those kids and then have her kind of pop up. I mean, that's such a game streamer idea, but it's something that's real world and practical and part of a new method of interacting with people today. This is like the next generation of storytelling for free, in free software. You just have to have the hardware that's compatible with it.
It's so impressive. And yeah, I do think teachers would be able to really get a lot out of that background removal tool so that there's no distractions in the background. I can also think of several Zoom meetings I've been in where I wish my background wasn't visible because I'm in the middle of folding laundry or whatever. So being able to remove the background like that would be great. What were you going to say?
So like the Zoom point is such a great point, because it's not like we haven't seen attempts at this before. Like a lot of the Teams and the Zooms and the Meets, there are these basic browser-based or small program-based plugins that kind of do that too. But kind of like the conversation we were having, like low-level humming noise in the background can wear you out more than you think it might. I think there's also a visual component to that too. If you're constantly like trying to kind of look at someone in a Zoom call and their background's going all nuts because that plugin doesn't work very well, I mean, even just like for how weird and gestury I just got, NVIDIA hung with me that whole time. I mean, I'm moving around, I'm wearing a hat, the shape of my head is funky if you're talking about, software, trying to figure out what a person looks like. And look at like the edge detection on my cap. Like that's not shallow depth of field from a lens, and it's right on top of a visual look that I don't know I would be able to discern if I were just casually interacting with someone. It's not distracting me from talking to you. It is really facilitating a better focus between the two of us.
It really is. You're so right about that. One person in the chat asked, do you need a special camera for following around like that? And no, that's just actually one of the functions that's built into NVIDIA Broadcast. It's like you have your own camera person behind the screen there who's just so following your every move. I know. I love that. It's super neat.
If you don't knock over your stool that you're sitting on, it works way better. No, so the only thing that is a little bit of a difference here is obviously the camera that I've got connected. I even tweeted a picture of my weird setup for this stream. I already am invested in mirrorless cameras, so my visual quality is already taking a step up over many of the laptop webcams that you would be working with. But to recreate the effect of me walking around in this space, all you need is light and distance. And if you can give the software a wide enough field of frame, it will follow you for a pretty respectable field of view. And it's better than I thought it would be. You look at how, even though I'm in a half frame, so NVIDIA Broadcast doesn't know that I'm using OBS as a virtual webcam and that I'm split screened on a web streaming platform, and it still nailed my position after following me around the room without me having to touch or click or adjust anything. That to me is like, again, it's pushing us so much. It's pushing us so much faster for these tools to be easier to adopt.
I love that that was even a question that we had in the chat about needing a special camera or whatever, because it's so advanced that you would feel like you'd need this extra equipment, but you really actually don't.
You really don't.
And then just again, as a reminder, if you didn't hear it in the beginning, I just really want to drive home the point that we are giving away a GeForce RTX powered laptop. Incredible. Reminder, reminder, reminder. Do not forget, you guys, because that's the most exciting thing. I love giveaways. I'm a big fan. I like entering them. I like hosting them. So the fact that we're giving away one of these laptops is super impressive. We have one more video feature to cover here. And this one kind of ties into what... Actually, no. I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this next feature, Juan, and then we're going to reveal the big surprise for everybody who's tuning in, okay? So talk about the background replacement.
Oh, for sure. So obviously, we did a bit of a gag with Devin's video at the very beginning of this stream, and we just kind of showcase, oh, hey, I'm totally in this apartment, and, you know, we're just playing. Yeah, see, there she is. She's magically transported herself back.
Yes, I own this.
Yeah.
Soho. It's my Soho apartment.
Soho. Thank you. That's what we landed on. And you know, I showed. Hold on. Let me get back to my background blur. I showed a background removal, and so this is. Oh wow. Okay. So my blue shirt. This is one of the first times I've ever seen it kind of wig. I want to get this on camera here. My Cortana lunchbox right behind me is the only thing that has kind of thrown the software for a loop. Well, I'm just going to take it down real quick. That'll probably work a little bit better while I show the background. Sorry, Cortana. Not today. All right. Yes. So one of the other things we can do, obviously, as so many other live streaming or video conferencing apps can do, is that we can pop out this background. But already you can see, I'm just amazed at its ability to recognize sort of what the human form and what my clothing looks like and what my hat looks like. So let's say I just want to put myself somewhere totally different. Like here, I'm just on a spaceship, and you're like, hey, I can be, sort of traveling the cosmos, and have an animated background, and all we need to do is sort of create this video or a GIF or an image file, and point the software to it. I can't actually share that. But basically, a window, a menu just popped up, and you just go to the folder where this stuff lives where this stuff lives. And you just replace it back there. But if I want to join you in that apartment, I can just pop that over and like, hey, I too have magically flown to Soho. But you just jumped on the spaceship, Devin. So now I'll join you. I'll go back to the spaceship. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
File.
It's so you. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No. Please feel free to jump in.
You can do video as well. That's what I was going to say. You can do video as well. And this backdrop, I don't know if don't know if I'm on screen right now, but you can see that there's some animation happening in the background. So we're out here in our spaceship. We're just on our way to Jupiter right now. And I want to let you guys all know that you can join us in the spaceship too, because the free gift that we're giving away to everybody is a download of this custom moving backdrop. So you can be in the spaceship with us and create some really cool content. You can joke around with your friends when you're video chatting with them, or if you're streaming, you can be here with us. Where are we going? Are we going to head to Saturn or Jupiter, or is it Mars maybe first?
I feel like, it looks like we're orbiting the red planet right now. I feel if we use the gravity of Mars to slingshot us, Saturn is really nice this time of year. So I think we should definitely try to see the sights around the ringed planet in our solar system.
Yes, it is very beautiful this time of year. Mars gets a little bit hot in September, so a little hot and dry. It is covered in robots. But you guys, if you want to check that out, if you want to download this custom moving backdrop, we are going to be including the link in the chat at the end of the live stream, so you can download that and be part of the space crew with me and Juan. It'll be a great time, and we're excited to see you out here in in outer space, in the galaxy, just floating around in our cool, moving backdrop.
And also, just to piggyback on that idea, the team here at Newegg, the Newegg Ninjas, and all the people that are working at Newegg Studios, hit us up. If you decide to use this in one of your streams or something, like send us a clip. We love to see this stuff actually kind of make it out there. And the people that have been working on this stream, I always have to give the shout out. The Newegg Ninjas have worked so hard to put this together with NVIDIA and to help us show these things off. I know like Devin and I become the faces and the talking and the people that interact with during the live stream, but it's a whole team of people that are making really cool stuff. And this was just a fun little kind of labor of love for them to put together and help us spread the word on something that we've really been excited about at the studio.
Mountain Man in the chat says he wants to know when the movie is coming out because he's hyped for Juan in space.
Yeah, we'll do it. Oh no, the O2 levels are dropping. I better reverse the polarity of the electron flow. It's going to be so much technical babble. It's going to be great. Good times.
Good times, good times. Now, you guys, I'm really excited to get to this next part of our live stream. Like I mentioned before, yes. AI is just so cool. I feel like it's so futuristic, and it's hard to believe that we have access to AI like this right at home, basically whenever we want it. So I wanted to bring in and introduce you guys to Gerardo Delgado Cabrera. He is the mastermind behind NVIDIA Broadcast. Welcome. How are you today? We're so happy to have you here.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
Of course, we're so happy to have you here. We're really excited to talk to you about your inspiration behind the app and behind NVIDIA Broadcast and what went into creating it. So let's just jump right off. I'll get into the first question here. What was your main goal in creating NVIDIA Broadcast?
Oh boy. Let's see. For those of you that have been following what we've been doing in broadcast, in 2018, we hit a big turning point. We released the Turing GPUs. And with Turing, we had a brand new encoder. So for years, we've had an encoder on the NVIDIA GPUs that allows you to be able to broadcast with a low perf hit. So instead of having to have two PCs or having to have a super expensive PC, people could do it. The problem we had before is that the quality wasn't good enough. So when we reached the Turing encoder, the quality just blew through the roof, and you could actually broadcast with very good quality just with one PC. Back then we started thinking, what do people need to be able to create content at home without having to make a huge investment, without having to buy, expensive microphones, cameras, etc. And we kind of started thinking that it went beyond just the GPU and our encoder, right? What else could we do? And one of the things that we had in Turing is that we introduced tensor cores in our GPUs. So we had this piece of hardware that could run AI really, really fast. And in a way, it was sitting there for us to use it, right? As you guys know, today we use it for DLSS when we run games and for some other stuff. But for a lot of people that weren't playing those games, it was just there sitting idle. So that kind of gave us the inspiration of thinking, how could we improve the life of creators with AI? And we started testing several things. In 2019 at TwitchCon, we actually did the first demo of the green screen with our friends at OBS, and we were putting it in front of people. And shortly after, we started getting the networks for audio. And as you guys know, sadly, in 2020, we got hit by a massive pandemic. And just when it started, we said, okay, it doesn't really matter where it is, people need this. So we kind of accelerated the development, and we put it out there as a very simple app. It was called RTX Voice back then because I didn't have time to do an extensive marketing campaign. We didn't launch it. I actually wrote a forum post, or actually I asked a friend, Tim, to write a forum post, and I wrote a setup guide, and that was it. And we just put it out there and said, if it helps, it's free, it's available, just go and use it. And yeah, we've been iterating ever since. We've been getting a lot of feedback from people, and we're very glad to see that people are finding it useful.
Now, I've got to jump in on something that you said, because we'd sort of mentioned something earlier in the stream too. It's such a uniquely PC enthusiast idea. Like, you've built this massive workstation. You've really kind of poured your soul into making a really cool rig to do your work and to play your games on. And there's just that idea of like, well, I mean, I've got all this RAM if I'm not using it. I've got this GPU. if I'm not using it, and like we go out of our way to go and look for those things to do. Now, especially for the audience in here, and as we kind of get into some of the more technical details of this software, I think there would be a natural concern, or at least a natural curiosity in, you said low performance hit. That might be low by my standards, where I'm playing a lot of like pixel arty platformers and old school RTS games. It might not be low for someone who might be really into the twitchiest of esports or like first person shooters. I'm hoping that you could maybe explain a bit more, like, you're firing this up and you're trying to contribute to a stream, but you're also trying to maximize your computer hardware for the game and the moment that you're playing in. What do these numbers kind of look like? What kind of energy is being kind of tapped from the GPU?
Sure. So back then, when we started looking at this, you actually had some solutions out in the market that did some similar things. You had ChromaCam, you had Personify, for example, for being able to do avatars. There were some solutions available. The problem is that they cost you 30 to 40% of your frames. They were a massive hit on a CPU, and that's if you had high-end hardware. So the ethos of our project, what we were trying to do, is kind of the same of what we did with the NVIDIA encoder with NVENC. Can we let you do whatever you want to do with a perf hit that you won't notice? So in NVENC, for example, we've done a bunch of optimizations with OBS, with XSplit, with Twitch Studio, and others to make sure that the perf hit stays below 5%. 5% is at that point where, if you're playing at 140 FPS, you're going to see, 6, 7 FPS hits. And that's kind of not noticeable, right? When we attempted to do this, one of the principles was it has to be aligned with that. And right now, what we're trying to do is stay below 10%. So if you're at 144 FPS, we're going to cost you 14 FPS at most. With audio, we're actually much further along because we did RTX voice. We got a lot of feedback from people. We just released version 1.3 of the app, and before we do a benchmark on all the GPUs, and we are averaging between 0.2 and 0.8%. So it's less than a frame. So the audio the audio features are working really well. Video is, as you mentioned, in beta, so we're still iterating through it, but our target is to keep it under 10%. And that's also why it was so important to run it on Tensor cores. The point is that we had to run the effect at the speed of light in the very little slices of time that we have between frames of your game. And that's that's why we leverage the RTX GPU specifically, to make it so fast and so performant.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with its ability to handle this in real time. Is still, again, I'm like getting to talk to you, actually having worked on this team, and I want to say to your face, it's stupid how well it works.
Thank you.
I'd love to talk to you about training models. Obviously, you have to train AI, and that's exactly what NVIDIA Broadcast is. It's an AI-powered home studio. So what did you train it on? How was that process for you?
Wow, that was a challenge. So one of the things that people misunderstood from the app from the beginning was that they assumed we were training on people. So they assumed that as you use the app, that we would record your audio and we would train on it. And that sounds really cool. Like, an app always improves. We had to take an ethical decision there on whether we wanted to actually use audio from users or not. And I don't know if it's the right decision or not, but our point of view was whatever you do on your system is yours, right? If you're using this to chat with your beloved, or you're using this to chat with your friends, like, no one should be listening in on that. So the audio processing is happening completely offline. You're just processing it on the GPU. The model is not trained there. What we had to do then is find where to train. And it's not that easy to find where to train. So the first networks is literally me in the NVIDIA cafeteria asking for people to come through a line and just either record them or put them in front of a green screen. And we built a wardrobe. So 2 engineers and we just went out shopping. We bought a bunch of clothes, and we had like a full wardrobe that people would just come through and put all the different clothes on and go through a green screen, and we would record them so that we could train on it. When we got to audio, something similar happened, but then I actually had to call some of our partners. And for example, we spent hours with Delgado and with Corsair training on mechanical keyboards. You have no idea how many hours we have of us just sitting and yelling at each other, smashing keyboards and talking over it. So that was really fun and exhausting. But the next stage of that is with AI, you can train what you know that you have to train, but you always have to be careful for biases in AI, right? And you can have a diversity bias, that's definitely a problem, but you can have a situational bias. One of the things, I'm coming from Spain, for example, one of the things that concerned me is in Silicon Valley, people get over obsessed on training on the markets they know about, but there are so many other markets out there. A stupid example, one of our latest updates of the network was to include animals. And so everyone in the office thought we should include pets, cats, dogs, etc. And we did a survey actually worldwide to do this. And one of the things they asked us for, you should include insects. And it's something that wouldn't naturally occur to you, but some people said, where I live, there is a lot of insects, and I want to remove the insects so people don't hear that. So that was the harder part, is how do you find out what you don't know? And so what we did is we put out a website. It's nvidia.com/broadcast-feedback. So we put a website up that people could just come and say, I love your app, but it doesn't work here. And I thought no one would do it, because it's like, who's going to use their free time to send me data samples? It turns out that a lot of people wanted to. Yeah. So in the first month, I think we got like 10,000 people submitting tons of feedback and data samples. And we heard everything from, there's this weird combination of 3 apps I use that don't work. And then we could contact the user if they wanted us to, and then we could go and train on it. To some people, this is the funny one, some people said it works really bad on X, and because those people were more vocal about it, now it's one of our best profiles. So we have a couple of those for that. I think one was drums. I think it worked badly on drums or an instrument, and then we got a bunch of people just drumming for us from home and talking over it. So yeah, the data is really, really tricky, but we've been fortunate to have a community that was really engaged, that we could work with, and that has helped us a lot.
I have to say, I'm very surprised to hear about the insects, and my mind immediately went to somebody with like a pet tarantula, and I thought what you were saying was that they wanted the tarantula to be able to like also do the auto zoom and all that. It's like, I'm not part of that community of people that has a pet insect, but I realize now you mean flies buzzing in the background or bees or whatever it is. So I think that's very interesting that was something that you heard from the audience and that you were able to kind of take and apply to NVIDIA Broadcast. So that's really, really neat. Juan, I'm sure you have another question coming up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You just sort of sparked like, what if tarantula streams are the new meta on Twitch, and now we're gonna have to like completely follow the new vibe there.
I want nothing to do with it.
my wife either. Actually, you know what? My daughter would probably be into all the bugs and the creepy crawlies. But I did want to circle back and just highlight one thing that you said. Not that we need to kind of bash this idea too hard in the middle of this stream, but I think it's fair to say that we live in a climate right now where a number of consumers are concerned about what their smart devices are listening for, what data is being stored or saved on us. And I'm really happy to hear, because I think it would have been easy. I mean, I don't want to call out specific companies, but I'm sure people can kind of come to their own conclusions on certain business practices. But when we're already sort of putting our faces out there, if it's streaming or if it's on calls or on Teams, we're already kind of giving our audio to these servers to manipulate that data. I'm sure that was probably a very heady decision for NVIDIA to kind of wrestle with. Like, we can make this way better, way faster if we just put it into the terms of service that, you know, this is a beta product and we'll get to hear and sample everything that you do, and you click agree after you've gone through the pages of legalese. And I was hoping you could just kind of highlight that decision just for, you know, a little bit more, just for the peace of mind, because I think, again, you know, as we're talking about my voice, my face, my family's voices and faces, like, I think this is kind of a new frontier of privacy protection that more consumers are getting interested in.
Yeah, definitely. And that was kind of the idea, is I don't even have to deal with it. It's what they call privacy by design. On the app, we, for example, just said, look, it's not going to have the ability. It just cannot do it. So that way, by having no recording and no nothing, I avoid any problems. For example, when we did the website, the website to gather the data, one of the things that we did is I don't even want to be able to trace who sent it. And it was funny because
Nice.
this is getting a bit into the weeds, but in some jurisdictions, you actually need to be able to, because data protection laws tells you that I need to be able to access my data that I've given you. So we had originally designed everything to be completely anonymous by definition. And then when the lawyers came in, they were like, no, people need to be able to track their data. And I was like, all right. And we actually had to undo some of it so people could access their data back and exercise their rights. But yeah, I totally agree. It's something that, as someone that works with technology, and especially with AI technology, you need to ask yourself these questions. You can't just be a bystander and say, well, I didn't know how it was going to be used.
One thing that I'd like to ask you about, Gerardo, is what was your favorite part about building NVIDIA Broadcast? What was something that you found really useful for yourself in your own personal life? And what was exciting to work on?
So one funny thing, when we started developing this thing, I was living in a one-bedroom apartment with my wife, and I gave her the room, and I was just working from the living room, and I happened to be in a lot of meetings all the day. So she was really upset because every time she wanted to go and grab something from the kitchen, or she wanted to go watch TV, I would just be there talking. And then the issue is if she wanted to watch TV, then I couldn't because I was in a call and we could hear her. So in a way, we started developing the app, and every problem I had in my personal life started getting resolved by the app. So we first did that. Then I don't know if you guys know, but now we have a feature called room echo removal. So we were fortunate that when the pandemic hit, after a few months, we were able to move into a 2-bedroom, right? Because I think my wife just was fed up of me working from the living room. So, but my second room was really, really small, so it had a lot of echo. And then we ended up developing the room echo removal. So in a way, I feel like we're starting to match my needs with the app. So that was great, but it was really fun to test it, because that way, like my wife could do what she was doing. Like, can they hear it now? And I would ask my team, and they would protest, and they would say, yeah, we can still hear her. And then we would keep iterating on the feature. Another fun thing, we've been recently toying around with AR technology. And one of the things we were looking at is how do you do face mapping so you can run avatars and things like that. And so I've been having to run avatars in my professional calls for a couple of weeks just to test it out and see how it feels like. And I've had to meet some pretty important people within NVIDIA in Avatar. And they've been pretty surprised. And the reactions have been mixed, but it's really fun because you get to test all of these things and see how they go.
Yeah, I mean, because we're seeing some of the fun versions of this and like little filters on phone apps and things like that. But I mean, I'm sure it's got to be great, like going into a meeting with like the top brass. I have to look like a cartoon character. I'm sorry, it's my job. It's what you pay me for.
Yeah.
I want to just say, Disco Jedi in the chat says, so this app can stop fights with your significant other, and it appears that it can. So if you're having some problems at home, maybe the answer is NVIDIA Broadcast.
to mirror your experiences. Like again, I'm trying to treat my office. I've got like some acoustic blankets on 2 walls. I've got like a towel blocking, this is the bottom door frame, just to try and help with that sound. And one of the things that has made a tremendous difference is that kind of low-level life rumble that comes from the rest of the house just vanishes. And so I genuinely, like, from 2 years ago, my wife would like tiptoe around and she'd really get after my daughter. And there was always this kind of contention, like, we're being too loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's distracting. And now, I mean, I can still hear what's happening in my home, but it frees up that space in the back of my brain where I don't have to worry that my audience is hearing that. And It really has taken a tremendous amount of pressure off when I've got a podcast or when I've got a live stream, that, they don't have to be tiptoe librarian silent for 2 hours while I'm rambling on about technology.
That's so liberating too, because having to require that everybody around you be absolutely silent while you're doing your work it's stressful for both the person who's actually creating content and the people who are having to sit there and be silent. Gerardo, another question I have for you. What apps does NVIDIA currently support, and are there plans to add any more?
So the NVIDIA Broadcast was built as a universal plugin. So the idea was that you install it in your system, it exposes in your system an NVIDIA Broadcast microphone, speaker, and webcam. And any application that can select a device can just grab one of those, which is virtually all of them. So by installing it once, you don't have to configure it in Zoom, in Teams, in OBS, or wherever you want to use it. You just have it at system level. So we don't have to go and integrate it in all of them. So that makes it compatible with everything. Then it was compatible with any UVC device, so with any plug-in camera. What we've done in the latest update is make it compatible with direct show devices. So it's compatible with professional cameras, it's compatible with virtual cameras. So we just let people play with it. And that way you can basically use it with anything and in anything. What we're starting to do now is, back in September, well, we're in September already, back a year ago, we opened up the SDKs behind NVIDIA Broadcast to developers. So anyone that wanted to take these technologies, they could put it within their own applications. And the cool part of that is that we thought there would be use cases we didn't even imagine that could be done with it. So Juan, for example, the auto frame feature, that's from a developer called Shimer. He's a friend of mine. He figured out that if he could track faces, he could actually also crop it and do an auto frame feature. And he was the first to integrate something like that. And now we're working with a bunch more, and we're trying to see what they come up with. We're kind of excited to see it. From, for example, OBS, XPlay Broadcast, Gamecaster, all of them have integrated the noise removal directly within the app. So if you're in OBS and Juan, for example, has us receiving 2 streams from Devin and from me, he could set up different denoising levels for Devin and me. So if I'm already running it, he doesn't have to denoise me, but if he has a guest that doesn't have it, he can denoise them. Same as we're doing that kind of integration, we're starting to think of what else to do.
I mean, the first idea as a sort of a longtime content creator, and especially someone who used to work in audio, location sound mixing and commercial voiceover, is it's incredible what this software can do in real time. And it really does boggle my brain how we get to such insanely low latencies for getting the audio back out, matching back up with video. I mean, my rig right here running through a camera and a capture card, through OBS, through NVIDIA Broadcast, up to a live stream. And like as an old school nerd, that round trip of video and audio software, there's no way my voice and my video should be in sync. But I'm wondering, are there plans from your team? What could we do with this type of manipulation and modeling if we were doing it as part of a post process? Would this get even better if it were a filter that we could work on in DaVinci Resolve or in Adobe Premiere? Is this something that if we're not concerned about the real-time processing, is this a format or a platform that we could take to even further even improve the output even better if we were working on this with pre-recorded content?
Yeah, we've been thinking of that a lot. The original plan or the ethos of the feature was to always be real time and be the minimum impact possible. But as we started seeing some of these things, some of the creators told us, I want to run it in post too. And for example, as a matter of fact, some of the creators have been using a VST filter. VST is a type of filter that you can add into a lot of applications. It's just a universal language to do audio filtering. And they've put the noise removal as a VST filter. It's called Voice Effects if anyone wants to download it. When we started seeing that, we started thinking, what could we do for that use case? And we've started looking into some of the features and how they can be enhanced. So we have a feature, for example, that's called super resolution. It's available in SDK. We haven't put it in the app yet. And what it does is if you have bad quality video, it can enhance the video, right? So imagine if you had an old phone recording or someone sent you a video that got degraded because it had to be compressed to be sent over the network, right? That network will first clean the video. It removes the artifacts or the encoding errors, and then it does super resolution. In real time, we do it at 1080p because you're likely going to send 1080p over the internet. Offline, we get to 8K. And when you watch videos processed to 8K, they become nuts. So anyone with any phone nowadays could be shooting 8K video. You shoot your regular phone, whatever phone you have, and then we can take it up. And it's really cool. It just right now it's in SDK level, so it's for app developers. But I'm hoping that we get to see this soon in some applications.
Yeah, well,
That's very
I'm
exciting.
on your mailing list, so you know I'm gonna be bugging you guys because I want to see that so bad.
If you wanna toy with it, it's very not user friendly. But the SDKs can actually be installed, so you can just you uncompress them.
Oh, great.
And they have a sample app, and the sample app is very silly. You just have to point to the file you want addressed. So we have some people that are like, okay, I'll learn. You need to learn to code, but it's 2 lines of code. You just need to put the command to super res it and point to the file. And people are playing with it already.
Oh, I'm there. As soon as we're done with this, I'm gonna go nerd out for a bit.
A little off topic here, but I have another question for you. But before I get into it, I do want to remind you guys that the free gift that we're giving away to everybody who's tuning in is that custom moving backdrop. Let me turn it on again myself so you guys can see it.
Mine too.
Yeah, let's all get back in the spaceship and we can just see what it's like. I'm trying to click things around on here. There we go. Background.
Oh, gravity.
I'm kind of jealous because I don't have the spaceship. What do I have?
Yeah.
no.
So we left you on Earth, so unfortunately you can't join us on our space mission.
I have Jensen's kitchen.
I love it.
But you guys, for those of you that are watching, this is the custom moving backdrop that you guys can all download. The link is going to be in the chat. It may already be there, but I'm not totally sure yet. But you'll be able to download this. This is the free gift that we're giving away to everybody. And then to one lucky viewer, we are giving away a GeForce RTX powered laptop. That goes to one of you. But if you're ready to just go ahead and buy a laptop for yourself, we also have a link for that in the description below. So you can check that out. Now, the final question that I have for you, and Juan, maybe you have another question that you'd like to ask before we wrap things up, but this is off topic, but there is somebody in the chat that said, does the cartoon avatar thing work now? Gerardo, is that something that you'd be able to showcase at all?
So what we do in for avatars or cartoons is we have an SDK that can track a face. It can track the punch of their face, or this is kind of hard to explain, but it can do a 3D mesh. So a 3D mesh is that from a 2D image, from a webcam, we can infer depth and build a 3D model. Those features are available, but you don't see a character. What you see is the anchor points. And then if someone wanted to use that, you can go into something like Adobe Character Animator, and then you can map your character to this. If you guys want to play with it, there is an application called Notch. It's used for VFX, especially in concerts. And they have a super cool demo of how they have integrated it, and they can run robots with it. You can run a full avatar. It's actually full bodies. You can actually control the arms, the legs, and everything. So if you haven't checked it out, Notch, it's fantastic. You guys have the demos on YouTube. It's really, really fun to see how they've used it.
Are you able to show us a little something right now?
Yeah, do you have any samples or anything?
I don't have it in this PC, but if I run it now, you would just see the anchor points.
Oh, darn. Okay, I was very excited to see that one. All right. Well, Juan, any last questions from you before we wrap things up?
I mean, Gerardo, just thank you for taking the time to kind of chat with us about this. This has been an ongoing conversation about getting more use out of our products, and we've been talking about the evolution of this software since the release of RTX Voice. And it really has been exciting to watch. And it's especially been exciting to watch as it started out as such like kind of a hobbyist idea. Oh, you're doing that live streaming thing. Okay. And then in the middle of some really trying circumstances for a lot of people, this idea is resonating and it's building momentum. And I think beyond just our little crew of like, you know, hardcore DIY PC builders and hardcore gamers, that I mean, we're obviously the tip of the spear. If it's new computer tech, we're going to want to know about it. But it's such a joyous idea to kind of spread to other folks and to say like, oh, you're having to do these Zoom meetings. Let me show you this. Oh, you already have this really nice laptop. Have you tried playing with this? And it's always with that resistance of like, oh, what am I going to have to buy? What kind of camera? I'm going to have to get a fancy mic. You can almost watch the people in your life deflate until you tell them, it's free, you install it, you push a button. And it's so rare that recommendation actually works the way that we say it does. You know, like there's always these big hype promises about new technology, and here is something that a simple install, you click a couple toggles, and you tell the computer what camera to use, and then suddenly this is doing something you've never seen your computer do before. And I'm just so tickled to be able to contribute to a story like that.
Yeah, it is really cool, especially knowing how many people are having to use streaming platforms and video chatting just to stay in touch with friends, family, their students, like you were mentioning, Juan. People now are living so much of their lives online and through video chat, and we might as well be able to do that with the highest quality possible. So NVIDIA Broadcast really does make that possible, and it is a very, very impressive software, and it's been so much fun to use it and to talk to you, Gerardo. So thank you so much for being here. You guys, just remember, you can buy an NVIDIA badge laptop in the link in the description below. Don't forget to download your custom moving backdrop. I saw that link go up in the chat, so I hope you guys all went and downloaded it so you can join us on our space mission to Jupiter, I believe it was, because Mars is too hot this time of year.
Jupiter, we can go to Jupiter. I mean, it's fine. I like Saturn, but
Saturn, okay.
If that's where you want to go, we can go to Jupiter, I guess.
It'll be a whole galaxy tour. That's what we'll do in our spaceships. Excellent. It'll be so much fun. And then also, if you do want to enter to win that GeForce RTX powered laptop, that link is also in the description. We also will post a link to the contest entry in the chat and in the description, you guys. So there are plenty of places and opportunities for you to find that link and go ahead and enter. It's a week-long contest that started 5 minutes ago, and so that's going to end, I think, next week, September 24th. So go ahead and enter that if you want your chance to win a GeForce RTX powered laptop. All right, you guys, well, that wraps up our live stream for today. Thank you all so much for being in here and for being so great to talk to in the chat. It was really fun to see how excited you all were about NVIDIA Broadcast. And again, if you'd like to download NVIDIA Broadcast, that link is also in there's so many links in the description below. You guys need to check them all out because there's freebies going away. You get NVIDIA Broadcast, you get a custom backdrop, everybody gets something. So a lot of fun today. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Don't forget to subscribe to Newegg Studios on YouTube. Tap the bell for notifications. Hit the thumbs up and let us know how you think you would use NVIDIA Broadcast in the comment section below. Have a great Friday, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.